And our request of 496 is always higher than what we anticipate receiving based on the CPI and new growth.
The last time voters in this community approved an education rate increase was 1987.
Last year I voted no against this levy, and quite frankly, I'm just opposed to tax policy that allows a use it or lose it philosophy, or a tax to the max philosophy, because at the end of the day, that combination typically burdens the taxpayer. So
people just don't want to raise taxes and spend money, and we all pay taxes in the community, and I don't want my tax bill to go up, but I live here. I feel as though I can afford to live here. If I can't afford to live here, then maybe I should move.
As I view the numbers today, it's adding $27 million in principal and interest onto a current debt structure that runs our debt structure up to $270 million.
Is that they do want the most efficient initial cost possible, and so at some point you have to move forward. You have to take a step of faith and hope. And
in this situation, we're not asking the community for money. We're asking the community if they want to give us money. By putting this referendum on the ballot, we're saying, is this of value to you so that you want to raise your own taxes? We're not just raising them, we're asking them if according to their community values, they want to do this. So I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that you have an issue with the debt structure and all of that. But quite frankly, if the community is comfortable with that debt structure, and if the community is comfortable with those increased taxes, this is a decision that rightfully belongs to them, and that's why the law has stated that we must go for referendum.
Than what is currently shown in these scenarios.
So there's a current situation to understand, but there's also, if we think strategically, it's almost like refinancing a house. At some point, people buy a house and they have like that balloon, or they have some type of escalating. Well, then they plan to restructure. Now, it doesn't always play out that way. I get it. That's right. However, that is something, regardless of whether we added Jefferson debt to this or not, we've got to be looking at that. Even our blue, exposure here, we have to be rethinking what we're doing and how we're doing it, regardless of whether we add 17.6 to it or not.
Question that people tend to ask is, what's it mean to my taxes tomorrow? Not what is it in aggregate, just as if we all looked at our home when we finally pay it off, you go, oh my God, how much I paid for that. Well, the same thing happens with your bonds and your refinance, and you do all these things. So the daily person, I think, on the street, this is based on past experiences, what's it going to mean to my taxes next year? And with a median home value of $260 or $250, somewhere in that range, you're talking about people being impacted by $15 to $25 under one scenario, or perhaps $60 to $40 in another scenario.
People just don't want to raise taxes and spend money, and we all pay taxes in the community, and I don't want my tax bill to go up, but I live here. I feel as though I can afford to live here. If I can't afford to live here, then maybe I should move.